where brevity is bloody well paramount.
Hello and welcome to episode 27 of Chet and John's reassuringly finite gaming playlist. I'm John Denton, with me as always Chet Roivas.
Take out the chicken.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
You will, you will.
Alright, two top 10 lists, you know what it is, you've heard this before, right? It's two top 10 lists, going from 10 to 1, 10 being the game we played the least, 1 being the game we played the most. We go back and forth, and we start now with Chet's number 10.
Right, my number 10 is Counter-Strike Global Offensive on the Xbox 360.
Right.
I was really excited going in because it's got such prestige and history, that series. I've never played them, and you read so much about it, you've heard so much about it. I was eager to have a look. I thought it was a great idea, but in my experience, it hasn't worked. I've booted it up 3 times. I've started playing, and it looks really interesting. Hostages, you can buy weapons at the beginning, which reminded me of Homefront, and it looks like something I'd really like, but my trigger just stops working every time. I have a gun, I have ammo.
Oh, it literally doesn't work?
Yeah, I thought my pad was broken. I changed pads, it's still the same problem, so it's a glitch of some kind. And I'm going to leave it there because as much as I like the look of it, I don't have time. It looks like it's something that it demands time, and I've got Battlefield, so much as I want to investigate, Battlefield.
Have you read anything about this?
For years.
Is that a problem for other people? No. This trigger problem.
No, actually, I didn't. But it happened 3 times. I mean, I completely rebooted it from scratch. I should have checked, really. But
it's not the type of thing where you're just blaming the game.
No,
I'm a trigger.
No. Because the first time it happened, I was like, maybe I haven't got ammo for my gun, or maybe I'm using the wrong buttons or something. No, it's definitely a fault with the game. I'll have to look into that, but I didn't.
Interesting. Yeah, I've always been interested in that. Exactly the same as you, because we're not from a PC background.
Yeah.
I've never played it, and I've played all the games that it's kind of spawned over the years and, influenced, but not the actual progenitor of all that sort of stuff. But I haven't had time at all to play Counter-Strike on the Xbox, and that's put me off a little bit.
Well, I needed an excuse to ignore it because I've got Battlefield, so I'm going to do just that, as much as I want to do otherwise.
Yeah, I'd like to play it one day, almost just out of some sort of duty, but
the trial gives you 45 minutes free online, so just do that.
Oh, does it?
Yep.
It's even finding the time to do that though.
You're right.
But I might do. I want to. Just out of some sort of professional duty. I feel like I should.
Yeah, me too.
But then again, should you play it on PC? I don't know. Try and play it on my PC. That ain't gonna work. Right, my number 10 is a game I can't really talk about, which is frustrating this time of year. This is going to happen a few times, unfortunately, but it's taken a fair bit of my time. It's FIFA 13. I'm under embargo, as is the way with these things, legal stuff, so I can't even be snide about it. But it's FIFA 13. I've talked about it before. I'll probably be able to talk about it in depth later, so I don't want to dwell on it because it's annoying. So we'll talk about it more later.
Okay. All right, my number 9 is the world's hardest game on the iPhone. Have you played this?
No.
Okay.
Is it hard?
Yes, it's very difficult, but not annoyingly so. It must be some kind of phenomenon that's passed me by because it's on the top of the App Store, free downloads, and it's got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews.
Fuck. It's passed me by completely.
Me too. I just downloaded it on the off chance, but it's an exceptionally polished and very inviting compendium of mini games that are incredibly difficult, but they're so well designed. I mean, and they're more like micro games. Actually, they're really brief. There's sort of brain training-esque sums to do. There's a thing where you have to tilt the phone to land parachute guys on a platform. It's all stuff that's been done before, but it's so. Yeah. There's a game where you have a vegetable and you have to chop it into 4 equal slices, and you just use your finger. So the chance of it being incredibly inaccurate and frustrating are massive, but it's not. It's just an impeccably designed game. I can understand why it's so highly rated. It's just instantly inviting. But man, when they say it's hard, it is ridiculously difficult.
This sounds good though.
It is good.
It just like a really hard WarioWare or something?
Yeah, ridiculously difficult. The only problem is that as soon as you fail each time, there's some music which is not wah 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 wah, but it might as well be, and alongside it is a woman crying, and boy oh boy does that fucking do your nut quickly.
Yeah, that sounds fucking hideous.
Yeah, but I was just amazed. Like I never, I mean, I failed a million times. But I never felt that the game was at full, and that's amazing for a touchscreen game. That, I mean, the precision that some of those games demand, and the fact that I never thought the phone was a problem. I mean, it's remarkable. I mean, I highly recommend it, and it's free. You can buy additional levels, but I couldn't get past the second set, so why would you?
I'm going to check that out. Definitely, I'll check that out after the pod.
It'll be number 1 or number 2 in the trial, so definitely do that.
Yeah, we'll do. So my number 9 is Papa Yo on PS3 again.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever had that situation, I'm sure you have, where you play a game for a while and you'll really like it and then you'll stop playing for whatever reason and a bunch of other stuff happens in your life and then you go back...
And it doesn't click.
And almost instantly I'm like, ugh, I don't want to fucking play this. I hate everything about it. And... I just couldn't work out why.
Yeah, that's happened to me.
There was I was telling myself, don't be silly. You know, you enjoyed everything about it before, and you paid money for it, and you want to play through. But my body was almost reacting like it was trying to fucking repel it, as if it was some sort of trying to reject it, like an organ of some, a transplanted organ. And I just couldn't get back into it. And it is quite a sketchy game, which I was talking about last time.
Yeah.
And that's probably the problem. I couldn't think about the nice, nuanced, textured story and, subtext and all that sort of stuff. All I could think about was this sketchy little boy falling through the floor and the graphics sort of breaking apart and coming back together. And I was just like, So I'll have to go back to it again because it was probably the most expensive of those types of games we ever bought. So I want to get the game fucking finished, but...
Do you stand by everything you said last week?
I still do, yeah, because I barely played it. It was just like, I don't know, maybe, you have to look at your own life as well. It's like, am I too tired? Am I just not in the mood? Am I playing it for the wrong reasons? Am I trying to force myself to play it when I don't want to play it? So all of those reasons are probably valid. But, I want to do it, but it may even be the case where I don't end up putting it on until sometime next year or something when there's a real drought. Because I can't see me finding time now as we hit the action stations.
Yeah, exactly. Oh well, that's a shame. I'm still sceptical about that. I need to. It's one of those things you either need to just download it or stop thinking about it.
Well, like I said, the trial is a good chunk of the game, and you can get the gist of what the game's going to be from the free trial. So, as you said to me, it's worth doing for that, and then you can work out whether to put your dollar down after.
Cool. I take it that takes about 5 years to download, does it?
Oh, fucking hell, yeah. It did actually take all evening to the point where I didn't... Yeah. Ruinous.
That's the PS3 for you.
Yeah.
Okay, right, my number 8 is Sleeping Dogs. I've only just been... I think that you can judge the quality of a sandbox by its side quests and stuff. Mm-hmm. And Sleeping Dogs, I like almost everything on the sort of the peripherals. I like everything. I'm just running around at the moment doing those stupid drug busts where you have a fight with a load of people, you plant a security camera bug, and then you go back and you find them on the security camera. That's the hokiest part of the game though, and that's really silly, and it's that's the one disappointing thing about the game, when you plant those the bugs on the security camera and then you wait to find this drug dealer, and it's always just a load of gangbangers standing around and then a guy in a suit with a suitcase. It's like,
for you, did it have an arrow over his head?
I don't think so, no.
For me, it just put on the feed. For people who don't know, you go back to your apartment and you've got like CCTV machine in your fucking house, I don't know, and you can just switch on the camera feed. And like you say, there'd be a bunch of fucking obvious gangbangers, and then some guy looks like he's just rocked up out of the bank,
walking in circles.
Yeah, and he has an arrow over his head. In mine, every single time. So I was like, well, this is pointless. And to the point where I stopped doing the drug bust because there was no fun beyond beating the guys up.
Yeah, see, I enjoy it despite itself. The annoying thing is I love that scenario because there's a real... It made me think, for some reason. Do you remember that N64 Mission Impossible game?
Yeah. That's exactly what it made me think of.
The sniper level where you don't know whether they're trying to
those
attack.
Guys, they'd reach into their pocket and pull out a can of Coke.
The highlight of a terrible game. But I'm just pissing around doing side quests a little bit, and it's really fun. I still really rate Sleeping Dogs, and I've seen it's nice to see there's such discussion about it I've seen online that some people are saying it's better than GTA, and but the fact that conversation's even going on speaks volumes about it. But it's great. It deserved success.
Yeah, it appears to have done well, doesn't it? It's difficult to tell without budgets.
You can get to number one
with
10 copies sold, isn't it?
But 2 weeks at number one tends to suggest that something's done pretty well.
Yeah,
so
indeed.
good on them. Yeah, it's a fucking good game.
Yeah.
Good game? Yeah, good game. So my number 8 is, frustrating. It's Need for Speed Most Wanted, the new one. I mean, embargoed again, but I played a fuckload of it. All I'll say is, if you like the last Need for Speed and you like Burnout Paradise, you're going to be very happy, and that's, I don't want to say any more.
The last Need for Speed was Need for Speed.
No. Yeah, fucking hell. it's to the point where I actually erased it, and I think there was Shift in between as well.
Shift
so not the last Need for Speed. Yeah, the last Criterion Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit. So if you like that, and you like Burnout Paradise, you're going to be happy. If you like Need for Speed The Run, then I don't know what to say to you. I'm just sorry.
I'm lost.
You're living your life.
Yeah. That's a shame. I can't wait for that. Criterion.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 7 is Comedy Night on the Xbox 360.
I know what this is.
Yeah, I was listening to, I think it was the most recent episode of JoyPod, and old DT was talking about it, so I downloaded the trial, and I did the trial, and the trial's not really a trial. It's sort of a mock-up of what you get with the developer's avatar standing on stage saying, this is what you get, buy the full version. And I wasn't going to initially, but we were playing Battlefield at the weekends, and everyone kind of sloped off early, and I just thought, I'd had a couple of beers, I thought, why not? And I bought it. It's a really nice idea. It's like a mock-up of a comedy club. You start a room, or someone starts a room. You can have up to 12 people in the audience watching an avatar on stage, and they can perform. They can speak through the microphone and do a stand-up routine. The problem is that everyone who pays for this goes there to listen to comedy, not perform it. So you have full rooms. I mean, that's the other reason I wasn't going to buy it. I'm still always sceptical when you have to buy a game that's reliant on a community. But the other night, I think it was Friday evening, there was loads of people in there. The problem was that no one, what would happen was you'd have 12 people sat in an audience. One guy would get up on stage, tell a shit joke, come back down. One person would get up stage, and there was a twat who kept playing music. Luckily, you can sort of vote them off, and they get booted off the stage. And it's a really nice idea, but it doesn't work. But it got me thinking it would be so great if someone developed something like this and charged a little bit more. It was 80 Microsoft points, so it was pennies. Charge a little bit more than that, and then imagine if you were an aspiring stand-up and someone said, here's 30 quid, Friday night, do 40 minutes from your couch into a microphone. You'd be like, yeah, all right. If you knew you were getting something, if I'd pay, if they did it in seasons, and you bought a season pass for something along these lines, and you knew that aspiring and upcoming stand-ups were going to perform, I think that could do really fucking well.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Unfortunately, this is just, you just end up. Initially I went to YouTube to have a look at what it was like before I actually bought it, and it's inevitably American children being racist. I didn't get that, but it was just a lot of people sitting waiting for someone to come into the room and stand on the stage and tell jokes, and that
did you stand on the stage and tell jokes?
No, I couldn't be bothered. To be honest, it was interesting. Sorry?
You're part of the problem.
I am part of the problem, but I don't begrudge those people, because you buy it because you think, I wouldn't mind sitting here of an evening and listening to someone tell jokes on the stage, whatever the scenario. But that's the problem, is that's the reason everyone buys it. But with a bit more thought, there's that could go really far. That concept, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea. When I heard about the idea, I was like, oh my god, obviously, what a great idea. I can't believe that I've not seen this already in some form. Just one of those. But yeah, shame that inevitably the people involved end up letting it down.
Yeah,
even though you are one of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
You don't have to apologise to me. Apologise to those little avatars sitting there waiting for some comedy.
All right, genuine.
My number 7 is Gravity Rush on Vita. I'm so pissed off now with my Vita. That's an expensive piece of kit, and I just don't have anything to play on it. So I stuck Gravity Rush back on again, and it's one of those games where I'm like, yeah, I can see that it's quite good, but it's not very good, really. It isn't, and I know that the more I play, it's going to get worse, so that's frustrating. It makes me feel a bit sick, so that's not good if you're on a train. And I'm just like, I want this fucking machine to have all the good games on it that it should have.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have them. And then they've done this PS1 Classics thing. And the one fucking PS1 game I wanted, Silent Bomber. Silent Bomber? Yeah. Silent Bomber. My boy.
Okay.
My all-time boy. It's the PS1's Vanquish, in my opinion. Isn't on there. Every other fucking cunt game is on there, but not Silent Bomber. So I was like, well, I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII on Vita like everyone seems to do. Why the hell would I want to do that? Oh man, I'm just frustrated. It actually annoys me just to talk about. No, I'm not even talking about Gravity Rush right now, but that's because I didn't play it to play Gravity Rush. I played it to play on my Vita, and once again, I felt let down. I feel a bit betrayed, to be honest, because it's quite expensive.
I don't feel. I mean, I never had one. I got loaned one by Sony for a period when it first came out. And I was just, it's one of those things, as soon as you have it in your hand, you're like, this is just such a marvellous machine. But after the same thing happened, me and some friends all imported PSPs, and we all just sat there for about a week just stroking them and polishing them. Just being like, and then after a while, you're just like, this is a jerk off. They're not even putting out any decent games. I mean, Loco Roco, I mean, you could name a handful of decent games, but I kind of knew it was going to go like this, and I don't understand what Sony are thinking, how they can just bring out a platform, and they must think that third parties are going to support it, because it's a real mystery, and it's a damn shame.
They can't justify putting the expense in of producing a game that's almost equivalent to a proper's the wrong word, a big budget console game. When they know the install base isn't there, and people don't spend that sort of money on handheld games. So it's just, I should have thought about that really before I bought it.
I saw this coming, and I remember people shot me down, and they were like, bollocks, you're just a fucking hater. And I'm like, it's just, they've done it before, man. Sony, what are they like? I was just hoping that
with all of the capabilities it has beyond just being, beyond the two sticks and everything like that, and the fact that digital distribution is much more of a factor than it used to be. I was hoping that there'd just be some banging, like, mid-range 10-quid games, and they'd be regular. And I guess Soundshapes probably falls into that, but it isn't. It's, again, like Gravity Rush, just isn't good enough to make me excited and make me certainly play it at home. It's all right when you're on a train or something, when you've got nothing else to do, but...
I mean, the thing about the Vita is that every console that I've owned possibly that's been released in my lifetime has had a genuine killer app release for it. Even the Jaguar had that fucking awesome AVP game. It wouldn't surprise me if the Vita never gets one, because who's working on it? No one. Who's developing for it? Almost nobody.
I don't think you're wrong.
It's a damn shame, because it's a marvel.
So nice.
It's a fucking shame.
Nice. Damn.
Yeah, that's annoying. I'm kind of glad I don't have one, because that's what bothered me with the PSP. I just used to look at it gathering dust, and I thought, that's just like a wad of money sat on my shelf depleting in value, and I was just like, bollocks. I think I ended up flogging mine in the end. So I'm glad I don't have that problem. Right, my number 6 is Kung Fu Strike on the Xbox 360.
What's that? Have I heard of that?
I don't even know if it's out yet. If it is out, it's out this week. It's a game developed. It's the first game by a Chinese development studio called QOOC development. QOOC, I think.
Right, I don't know how to say that.
Well, it's cock, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a funny one. I was reviewing it for a website, and it's blatantly an Xbox Live indie game that's been given the upgrade. I know other game. I mean, the Dishwasher was one of those, wasn't it?
That won a competition, the Dishwasher. It's an A competition.
Right, okay. I think this has won something as well. I went to the official site briefly, and I think this has won something possibly similar to that. But basically, it doesn't look the part. If there are standards for when an Xbox Live indie game can progress to an arcade game, this is not. This is way behind the curve. It's a third-person sort of brawler. It starts off okay. I mean, there's 2 punch buttons, and a jump kick and a parry. And at first it's fine, it's kind of like a bit of... it's like a very, very dumbed-down version of Arkham City. You're in an area... It's like those... What are they called? I forget what they were called, where it's just enemies setting upon you in a space, and then it's over.
I don't know.
It's the other. Basically, if you're not doing the campaign in Arkham Asylum or Arkham City, you're just
like the challenge room thing.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. It's just like that. There's a ridiculous story, static art panels, and it's set in feudal Japan. There's a siege on a temple, a rebel uprising. They go and investigate a tomb. I mean, there's double crosses. But it's so badly written. I think it must have been translated back and forth between 2 or 3 languages because it is gibberish, and everyone speaks in a kind of portentous Z-grade kung fu movie. I mean, it's laughably poor. The action's there at first, but then after a while it becomes punishingly difficult, and you have to use the parry. So a guy will come at you and he'll throw 5 punches at you. Every enemy, you have to learn the attack pattern and parry them all and then attack, and it's a very, very long-winded process. You die a lot. I put it down to easy quite quickly, and you die still loads and loads, and then you start encountering enemies with unblockable attacks and a million different... It becomes a real headache, and it's ugly, and it's monotonous and repetitive. There's local co-op, which is... I was like, fair play, because all games of this nature should have local co-op. But it's just it gets monotonous so quick. There's some really it's annoying because later on there are some really nice ideas, like you have this power to summon guys to help you, which kind of adds a bit of strategy to it, but too late because it looks ugly and it's monotonous and rubbish. I wanted to like it, but it runs out of steam, and I'm so surprised that they've seen fit to upgrade it, because 80 points, it would have been a word of mouth smash hit for an Xbox Live indie game. 400 maybe. 800, which is what it costs, no chance, mate.
Shit.
No way. It's a shame, but it's not there. Their next game might be something to look at, though.
Is it better than the Expendables, though?
Is it better than the Expendables? Yeah. I don't even know why I entertained that.
Everything's better than the Expendables.
Everything is better than the Expendables, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute.
Oh man, again.
Yes.
Right, number 6 is Pitfall on the iPhone.
Oh, which
actually, it's good. It's good fun.
Yeah.
It's been my game that I've been going to when I've got a spare 5 minutes here and there. I like the kind of upgrade and what they did with they've got the Pitfall Harry playing on the iPad, and then you start running, and it's good. It's a lot better than that Agent Dash game. I've still not played Temple Run, so my base is completely off and comparing it to anything like that. But
it's not really like Temple Run at all.
Is it not?
There's elements of it, but no, it's streets ahead. Temple Run is really, it was a brilliant idea, but it's been superseded already so many times. But that's the problem with the iOS.
Yeah, I thought it was nice. It was 69p. A bit garish maybe, but it was pretty cool. Yeah, it's just one of those fun, like standard iOS, not pushing beyond the boundaries of its own capabilities type of iOS dealio. Nice. And it was nice to see the little old school Activision logo at the beginning.
Oh yeah,
the little Pitfall man, who weirdly has more character. The little pixel man has more character than the fully polygonal man that comes up afterwards.
That's true.
But maybe that's just my nostalgic side.
Maybe. No, I think I know what you're saying, and I agree. But that's a really good... I was really impressed by that, actually.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
Considering the last Pitfall game, I think it was on the PS1, one of the shittest games I've ever played.
Really?
I've blanked it out. I can't even remember what it was called.
Pitfall 3D? Is that it? That was something. That was a game.
Maybe it was that. I mean, because Pitfall was one of the first video games I ever fell in love with. So seeing it shat on like that really didn't sit well with me. But there you go.
Pisses.
Okay, my number 5 is Akai Katana on the Xbox 360. Is
that a shooter?
It's a cave shooter, yeah.
Yeah.
You've heard about Cave, they're up shit creek basically, and they're not going to be releasing any console. They're all about iOS now, which is a shame. But anyway, this is the last one of the Xbox 360 that are playable on PAL machines. There's loads of that I could get if I had a chipped Xbox, but I don't. But I've got every cave shooter that's playable on a PAL machine, and that was the last one. It's great. I mean, I love those games anyway, but I haven't played it enough. As soon as you turn it on, there's 3 different modes, and it doesn't tell you what they are. But the thing is, cave shooters are often so complicated under the hood that I like going in blind. I don't know knowing what everything is. I like kind of figuring that shit out. So there was slash mode, origin mode, and climax mode, and I just picked origin mode. So I don't know whether the dynamics are the same in the other modes. Sometimes they are in cave shooters. Sometimes they're sort of broadly the same. But it was a very simple for a cave shooter. It was very simple. It's also horizontal scrolling rather than vertical.
Okay.
Yeah, it just involves the switch between your ship and to a Phantom, which deflects projectiles rather than shooting them.
Right. Similar to Ikaruga then, but deflecting instead of absorbing.
Yes, but you can only be the Phantom for a very, very limited space of time. So it's like a shield. It's like employing a shield. There was a couple of nice things, basically, in a lot... I don't know whether this is in a couple of cave shooters or in all of them, but in a lot of them, I think... When you get hit by something, instead of dying, you'll lose one of your bombs. So it will auto-detonate one of your bombs, rather than sacrifice your life. But in this, if you get hit, all of your bombs die. So there's a bit more incentive to avoid. There's a bit more. You're a bit more on edge there. It's great. I mean, it's hard to know what to say because I haven't played it enough, and I don't know what the difference between the modes are. But it's a great cave shooter. It's a lot less garish than most of them. Most of them are. I'm talking about audio primarily. Most of them, it's like Dragon Force style guitar solo non-stop and Japanese ladies going and they sound horrible. There's not so much of that, and it just, I have to say, I love cave shooters so much, and I do play them quite a bit, that I often forget how fucking peculiar they are. The end of this, there's a little girl who sacrifices herself. I mean, it goes so morbid from just having fun shooting a load of stuff. I mean, it probably goes that way in a lot of them that I've not really noticed, but it's so morbid for a little shooter that's, a little bit of fun. I was just like, I forget, because I'm so involved in them, I often forget how fucking weird they are.
They're very weird to me who's not involved in them.
Yeah,
very weird.
It was a real wake-up call. I was like, what? Why is it going so ridiculously dark with this young girl killing herself and all this morbid shit about... But that's why I love them. They're completely eccentric and weird. And if this is the last one on a home console, I'll be gutted, because this appears at this point to be as good as the rest of them, which is to say, superb.
Damn. So before you were playing that, the Grasshopper one, what's that called? Cinemora.
Yeah.
Putting this on, did that make you go, oh yeah, that really isn't that good?
No, because they're very different, and the problem is that I played Cinemora when I've been playing cave shooters non-stop, and they are very different. I still haven't finished with Cinemora. I'm going to go back to it, but Cave, they know what they're doing to such a ridiculous degree. They're like Criterion or DICE. They just they smash it, and it's just it's tremendous fun. Incidentally, if you're a whore for achievements, I've played the first playthrough from beginning to end. Took me, I'd say, about 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and I had like 450 game score. So if that's your thing, knock yourself out.
Get on it.
Yes.
And if that is your thing, then, well, again,
problems.
Yeah, really. Or don't. I don't want to be mean. So number 5 is New Start Soccer post-update.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played New Start Soccer for a while. I kind of weaned myself off it. And I stuck it on and I thought, well, I'll just have one quick game. It turned into about an hour and a half. It's just, I can't really work out why it's so good, apart from all the component parts, and it's very clever and stuff. But there's something about it. It has some sort of magical grip on me and many, many other people, it would seem. But for a game that's so simple, that I was playing it, and one of the updates is that it's now like a new place where you can be on the wing and cross it, which wasn't in the game before. And the first time that happened, it fucking blew my mind. It was like Inception. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? This is amazing. And all it was like a really crude 2D image that's just been rotated 90 degrees. So the fact that it's that powerful, I was amazed. And it's also got some like deflections off the keeper and stuff. Small shit, but the fact he's done it in a free update as opposed to... He could have probably done it in a sequel, changed the front end slightly and charged another 69p. And I actually don't think that would have been unfair. But, fair play to the guy. And every day it seems he's retweeting some Premiership football or other celebrity who's talking about being addicted to the game. So, all things being well, he's going to be able to live comfortably for a while off his success, and so he should.
Good for him. I'm so happy, and I enjoy hearing people talk enthusiastically about it from a distance. But I don't want to. It's not something I want to get.
It would ruin you. It would actually ruin you.
Yeah, not interested.
I recommended it to another person that I know who's more of a football fan than you, but not like down the pub Saturday type of football guy. And he spoke to me 2 days later, and he was just like, "What have you done to me?"
Oh, nice. Yeah. I can imagine that happening. It's annoying because I want to know more about it. Oh no, I did play the trial, didn't I? And it was stupendously good. And I put off cooking dinner, if I recall rightly.
Yeah, you'd put off a lot of things if you got the full version. I'm sure.
A good thing I'm not going to do that. But fair play to that guy, because it's by all accounts amazing. Okay, my number 4 is the Expendables 2, the video game.
I cannot believe you've gone back to it.
Someone came to me...
Actually, I can believe it because you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this is not out of the realms of possibility anyway, but a website came to me and asked me to review it, and I was like, you know what, alright. I re-downloaded it, I took the free code they gave me and gave it to a mate because I had already paid for it, and I thought we'll play it on co-op, and we did for about 3 hours, 4 hours.
Whoa.
The Expendables 2, the game, is it's so far beyond bad that it's not... They didn't have the money, they didn't have the time, they didn't have the resources. None of that applies. It goes so far beyond bad that I started thinking... I felt like I was being trolled. I felt like it was stepping out of its way to wind me up. I mean, I told you about that... You get an achievement for levelling up all 4 characters, which would take you probably about 30 hours. You're winding me up. That's a wind-up. Did I tell you about that one-hit kill move?
I don't think so. No.
There's a one-hit melee move which you can only perform when the game lets you do it. So you run into a skirmish with a bunch of guys, and I invited the opportunity. I tried to make it happen, and it didn't. You go up, you run up towards people, you get close to them, nothing, you know, and occasionally a prompt will say press X to do the instant melee kill, and the camera zooms in. Even if you're a multiplayer, regardless of who you are, or zooming on the character that's done it, you'll do like a 1-2 punch, a kick, pull out a gun. It's the snazziest looking part of the game. It's just
right.
Over the course of the 6 hours that I've now played this game, I reckon I've done that move 11, 12 times or so. There's an achievement for doing it a certain number of times. How many?
100.
2,000. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, are you fucking winding me up or what? But we got to a bit, me and my the friend I did it on co-op with, and we randomly got 2 people joined. The first 2 people in all those 6 hours that have joined, and all the games are open. So there's another achievement for doing it with 4 players, doing a 1 to 2 hour section with 4 players present. Good luck with that. Another achievement you won't get. There was a bit that me and my friend got to where I started to completely spin out, like completely lose my shit. Actually, that reminded me that there's a precedent for this, and I must have told you about this. When I was about 13, 14, something like that, I saw what at the time was the worst film I'd ever seen. And me and my friend thought it'd be funny to try and see it as many times as we could at the cinema. To see if we could take it. So I have seen Police Academy Mission to Moscow at the cinema 7 times. Have I not told you that before?
I think you have, a long time ago, yeah. 7 times.
And I remember this so clearly. It was the 6th time we saw it, and it was a scene in a circus or a carnival or something, and there was someone on a trapeze, and it was like I'd been given acid. Colours, I was like... What am I? It was like my brain was folding in on itself because it couldn't handle what I was subjecting it to, and that exact thing happened to me when we were at this section in the Expendables 2, and I'll try and explain it. You're walking along, blah blah. You get to a section where there's a helicopter, an attack helicopter. You need to take it down with rocket launchers, and the rocket launchers endlessly respawn because the enemies brandishing them endlessly respawn. So you're still fighting these enemies on the ground, and you have to aim up and shoot this chopper. The problem with the Expendables 2 is that it's one of those games where enemies can be on any level. So if you aim to the left and they're on the roof, in a lot of games it will just, it will shoot upwards for you. Yeah. That's what the game's supposed to do. But in this, 90% of the bullets hit the wall beneath him, and one bullet. So that takes forever. But anyway, you're trying to shoot this... So the same thing applies to the chopper. You're trying to shoot this chopper down with these rockets, but it's bobbing around and moving, and sometimes it goes over it, sometimes it goes under it. And, I can't control that. If I'm trying to... I'm just shooting in the direction. Yeah. The whole time this is happening, enemies keep respawning. Every 2 seconds you get grabbed by someone, knocked out, and then a friend has to come and revive you, which is a process that takes 10 seconds. So this bar goes up, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. And then, inevitably, as soon as you're up... The other guy who was reviving you gets knocked down. You have to revive them. 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds. All of this is going on, and then you have to eventually shoot this fucking chopper. We were there for 15 minutes, and I had the same thing where I just zoned out, and I was like, what the fucking hell am I doing with my life? What is going on? And randomly, It was a clusterfuck. Revive, miss, revive, respawning enemies, get him up, get that up. And I was just like, what the fuck? Eventually, someone blind fired a rocket and it accidentally hit the chopper. And it disappeared. And we were like, okay, that was an accident, but thank fuck it's over. So we killed all the remaining enemies and started to set off down the path towards the rest of the level. We were walking for about 4 seconds before Dolph Lundgren comes and, the damn chopper's back. If an old man appeared on screen and flashed me and waved his tackle in my face, I couldn't have turned off the Xbox any quicker than I did, and so did my mate. He said he just turned it straight off. He didn't even say goodbye to each other, just off. Because I was like, are you taking the piss? This is not bad design. This is someone trying to upset people. I swear to God, there's no way that's just a load of shit they couldn't afford to fix. Rubbish. Incidentally, before last week I said that I didn't know who developed it, and there is a load of conversations online about like people saying, oh, I spoke to so-and-so because he made a game that looks a bit like this, and I asked him if he'd developed this and he said no. So there is a lot of mystery around it, but the second time I booted this up, it came up with Zootfly Games, and I was like, I swear that wasn't there the last time I booted up. I mean, obviously it was, but I checked their website. They don't mention that they've developed it. I think they're from Lithuania or something. The only game of any note they've done is that really, really shit but strangely compelling Prison Break game.
Oh my God!
Yeah, which
with the chicken. It all comes full circle.
How did you? You remember that?
I remember you talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's basically I had to review Prison Break for a magazine. They sent me a preview build of the game that was broken, and I didn't realise it. So I spent 4 hours in this prison kitchen trying to complete an objective that I couldn't complete. And there was all these NPCs I had to avoid, and they had 3 things that they kept saying every 5 seconds. So they're ingrained in my brain. I'll never forget those things. Take out the chicken. The spots are burning. I need onions. That's it. That they will be burned in that will be burned in my brain forever. But the Expendables 2,
my number 4 is a game called La Mulana. Have you heard of it?
No. What was it on?
PC.
Okay.
But it was a WiiWare title that came out in Japan but didn't come out over here.
Okay.
No, I'll take that as a no.
What was that a question?
Yeah, I said, have you heard of it?
No, I said no.
It is, imagine a cross between Spelunky and a really old school MSX era action-y platformer type thing, with those kind of almost painted-y type graphics you used to get back in the day, and the really obscure fucking shit from Fez, which makes your brain hurt.
Oh.
Unlike Spelunky, you're a little caveman, not caveman, a little cave fucking hunter. Little Indiana Jones guy, you know what I mean? And he goes down into this temple, La Mulana, and has to fucking get through it. But you don't know where to go. The whole thing's structured. It's not like Spelunky where it's random. It's a big structured place. But you don't know where you're supposed to be going. You just know that you have to get through there. And it's unbelievably hard, by design, unbelievably difficult. And not only is it difficult in how you can get fucked up by things and it's really easy to die, it's really, really difficult to work out where the hell you're supposed to go and how to defeat the really complicated and convoluted puzzles. You'll find these stone tablets that have these clues on, but the clues don't necessarily relate to stuff that's even on the same screen as you. It might be something really far away, and the puzzles are really fucking obtuse and confusing. And as you can probably guess, my brain doesn't really work very well with this game, so I was asked to review it, which is why I was playing it, and I can tell that it's excellent and it has a real following and people seem to love it. But man, you've got to have a lot of time, you've got to have a lot of patience, you've got to have a notepad, you've got to be that type of person that wants to work stuff out for ages and your satisfaction comes from really solving a really convoluted and complicated puzzle and getting to the next point and really feeling like you achieved something. I am not that guy, so it didn't really resonate with me. So you're in one of those funny reviewing situations where you can kind of appreciate it from afar, but ultimately I don't enjoy it. But I'm not going to slay the game, because you can also see that it's a good game. You know, you can see that it's well designed for that audience. It's kind of like a Dark Souls type of thing. It's not really. I don't have the time in my life to play Dark Souls, but I appreciate what it does. You know. So yeah, that's La Mulana.
How much is it?
It's like $5 or something, I think.
Okay.
It's not very expensive. But yeah, if you're into that, if you really liked all the obscure shit in Fez that made you sit there with a pen and paper and go online and chat to other people, get involved with La Mulana, because you probably love it.
That sounds intriguing. I'm always intrigued by games that sound like that. I mean,
it is intriguing. It's definitely intriguing.
Why do you suppose they didn't localise it over here? Because WiiWare games make shit. I mean, like, you'd think that they'd try and localise it to try and make a bit more cash out of it.
I think there was some technical problem or something. They couldn't get it done, or they didn't have the money. It's only made by a small. I can't quite remember. There is a little story behind it, but they've ended up doing the localised and upgraded version. It's got nicer graphics now on PC, and it's it's not on Steam or anything like that. You have to go to this specific Play Sim, I think it's called, which concentrates on bringing over obscure Japanese shit. But yeah, La Mulana.
Okay.
It's a game.
How do you spell it? La Mulana?
La as in French, L-A, and then Mulana, M-U-L-A-N-A.
Okay.
And it's hyphenated.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, right, my number 3 is Resident Evil 6 on the Xbox 360, yeah. I was at Capcom earlier today, and I played it I was there for about 2.5 hours. And as you know, it's split into 3 campaigns, and I tried to give equal amount of time to each. And yeah, it's shaping up really nicely. I mean, I always have a problem when people start going on about how it's not survival horror anymore, which is an argument that came to light after Resident Evil 5, but not after Resident Evil 4. I mean, Resident Evil 4 is a masterpiece. Resident Evil 5 was pretty much crap. Yeah. But you calling, having one argument for one and not the other is completely wrong, because Resident Evil 4 was an action game as well. I mean, did you get scared in Resident Evil 4 ever?
Oh, only if a thing jumped around a corner. But I get scared in any game if something jumps out at me. It goes, ugh.
Yeah.
But
okay. No, there wasn't a lot of that in 5.
Scared.
Yeah. No. Okay. This is.
Oh no! Actually, I take it back. I was scared by those fucking weird motherfuckers at the end of 4. You know, those guys who are like, hee. They're a bit like the Heaven Smile from Killer 7.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they actually creeped me the fuck out.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
To me, it's like the transition from a survival horror to an action game has been going on longer than some people want to admit. But having said that, this seems to be a really neat. The 3 campaigns, although the stories are interlinked and they're going to entwine and stuff like that, but the 3 they actually feel very different. The controls are always the same. They do a nice thing where all the menus are different, just the HUD's different. Your little the bar that says how much ammo you've got. There's just little differences, but they actually feel different as well, and that's really, really quite cool. So the first one is Leon, which is classic. They say it's described to me as classic Resident Evil. It's more in line with Resident Evil 4, albeit with some big action sequences. And I played from the very beginning, where you have to escape from this university where the president was giving a speech. And it feels like Resident Evil 4. And there was... I'd love to tell you what it was, because it's really, really clever. But there's a fantastically well-engineered scare that fucking got me. And I was playing it in a bright room with sunlight beaming through. And I was like, I felt like it was like instant tick. I was like, you fucking nailed an absolutely... Because I don't get scared at anything. I don't jump at anything. And they fucking got me, and that was great. There's another bit where you find this guy and you have to help him find his missing child, and you kind of know that one of them's infected, and you're guiding them through this room, and they keep stopping, and they look like they're talking, or they look like something's happening, and you're just... It was really tense, and I was like... It may not be Resident Evil as you used to know it, but I was like, it feels fucking good. It is survival horror still emphasised, although there are intermittently really, really big action scenes in the middle. I will say it looks fantastic at this point. It's not even the build I saw wasn't even the finished one, but it looks really, really terrific. It looks as good as the next gen games looked, and Resi games have never been at the forefront of console technology ever. Well, maybe Resi 2 at the time when it came out on the PS1, but
Resi 4 looked the bomb.
But not like there were moments in this where I was like, is this Uncharted?
Right, sure.
Approaching Uncharted. I mean, there's things that have been inspired by Uncharted. So the way the characters move around scenery, like if you're trying to squeeze through a tight gap, they instantly do that. but the camera, like just the way it sort of swoops and pulls away from behind you, it looks lavish and expensive. It looks like I think this is almost certainly the most expensive Resident Evil game ever, and it's you can tell it looks like £1 million, or considerably more than that.
Thought, yeah. Sweet. I'm excited. I met someone recently who liked Resident Evil 5 but didn't like Resident Evil 4, which is kind of like liking Bad Boys 2 and not liking
the Shawshank Redemption.
The Shawshank Redemption, or Citizen Kane. Although I don't really like Citizen Kane, so that's undermined my own argument.
Yeah, you're wrong.
What am I talking about? My number 3 is Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which is a game with 4 T's in the title. Or is it more? No, it's 4. And I don't have anything more to add other than the fact that I've been playing it. It's good. It's probably the best Tekken for me. It's pure fan service, like a greatest hits of Tekken. Really fast, fun, exciting, and really fucking funny. They've brought the comedy back. They've kind of accepted the fact that Tekken is ridiculous and just gone to town with it. And that's a good thing, and it's given it a much needed dose of proper personality that it probably hasn't had for a while. And yeah, I think it's the type of Tekken game that will pull back some of the old school fans from the PS1 days, because Tekken is still a pretty mainstream game. When you talk to people who don't really game anymore, and you talk about fighting games, a lot of them don't talk about Street Fighter. They talk about Tekken because a lot of people are from the PlayStation era. Really, I still hear it talked about all the time as like the game that is fighting games. It's even mentioned in Shaun of the Dead, isn't it? But yeah, I reckon some of those, if they played it, would be caught up with it.
When was Tekken mentioned in Shaun of the Dead?
Fucking Peter Serafinovich and Shaun, they used to talk about playing Tekken 2.
Oh,
but it's like when they lived together.
And Time Splitters 2, obviously.
Yes, Time Splitters 2. But I didn't play that. I played Tekken Tag Tournament 2, which is pretty good. And it's going to have this really, really elaborate and extensive online suite, and it even has like a stat tracking service like COD Elite called the Tekken World Tekken Federation, the WTF. That's right. So yeah, they're really believing in it as an online game. So it'll be interesting to see how that takes off for people, because it's good. It's just one of those good games.
Okay. I can't wait to play it. Tekken went a little bit off on a weird tangent.
Yeah, so. This is definitely the most fun Tekken in ages. And even though it's a tag game, it's not like it's not like a Marvel vs. Capcom game where you need to know all the tag combinations and all that sort of stuff. It's more just Tekken, and then you can tag your mate in when you're getting a bit ill, and he'll help out. But okay. There's a few tag combos, but they're not like intrinsic to how the game works. It's more still about old juggles and all the old tricks and tactics.
Have you played it online yet?
No.
Okay. I was going to say, I didn't know if the servers would be open yet.
No, I don't think they are. In fact, I don't even know if the embargo's down, but whatever. I'm sure they won't mind.
Yeah, it's out a week Friday, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh well, it probably isn't then. That's a preview of Tekken. I just said that, okay. Not a review.
Gotcha. Incidentally, I'll talk more about Resident Evil 6 next week, because I played the 2 other campaigns and they were totally different, but I'll speak about that next week.
Right, yeah.
Number 2, Battlefield 3. The only thing that I can't wait for Armored Kill next week.
Oh, yes. Yes, we'll be there.
Did you see the launch trailer?
It came out today, didn't it? I didn't see it, no. I'm going to watch it in a bit.
They always get me... something clicks. Playing Battlefield 3 at the moment, the only thing that's happened is that I never understood mixed servers, where you play on a server and it goes Rush, Conquest. But now we've changed our server, that we've got to a mixture of all game types, because that's the way to do it. Totally changed my outlook. Rather than binging on one game type and getting fed up with it. Mixture.
That sounds more fun to me.
Oh, totally.
Let's mix it up.
I'm all about it.
Well, I'll be back on next week. I'm sure others will too.
Genuine.
Number 2 is another game that's embargoed, but I can kind of get around it because there's a second demo that's come out. It's PES 2013.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been playing the final version, but the second demo has come out with a bunch of club teams, and it's amazing. They give away so much for free. They're a good demo, and then they've done another one with a bunch of new teams and a few very small up there. I can't really tell the difference between the two in terms of the gameplay. I think there's some small differences. But PES is back. I can say that just going on a demo, irrespective of the of the final version. Pez is back. It's back in a big way. And what's really interesting is what I didn't realise. Have you seen that Metal Gear Solid Zero's footage that's come out?
Yeah.
That is the engine that Pez 2014 is being built on.
Oh.
Which could mean amazing things for the series, or it could mean they fuck it up again and they're back to square one, not knowing how to deal with advanced tech.
Hardware and that sort of change hasn't sort of done very well in the past.
No, they were fine PS1 to PS2, but PS2 to PS3 / Xbox 360 was... I mean, they've only just got their shit together 7 years later.
Yeah.
And, last year's was good, but it still had some bad bugs and some bad goalkeeping stuff. This doesn't have those things in. I don't know when the embargo drops, but I won't bore people who don't care about football too much. But yeah, Pez is back.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. Although the demo was great. Okay, right. My number 1 is Rock Band Blitz.
Shit, do you know, I've no time, so I haven't been able to play it. It's ridiculous, seeing as my life was built around frequency and amplitude.
Yeah. It's a shame because I've got no friends to do battle against.
Oh, no friends.
No, but like none of them are interested in this at all.
I'll get it, don't worry.
Okay. It's well worth 1,200. All I'll say about it is that it doesn't explain itself very well at all. I spent the first hour with it completely bemused. I was like, what am I doing here? Am I trying to maintain the song the whole way? It really doesn't explain how the game actually works. You have to figure it out for yourself. I mean, even it's all about the power-ups, basically. As you go through, you unlock all these power-ups, and using those power-ups is what the game is all about. It's incredibly involved and like really hardcore. It's a time sink. You're supposed to spend a lot of time completing all the songs and then figuring out the best way to go back and tackle them again. It's one of the most hardcore games I've played in a long time, but it's a real thrill because at first when you unlock these power-ups, some of them are like you hit the right note and then it will bounce around and you have to catch it to get more points, and you're like, but I want to try and I want to work on that track. It feels like I'm pissing around doing stuff that's not. But working out when to do that and taking the best advantage of it is how you work it out. And those power-ups at first seem ridiculous, but in the right song at the right time, you can absolutely smash it. And figuring out when to do that is really rewarding. It's a real thrill. And then you can maximise points on a certain instrument. So if you know that there's a song that's got loads of guitars on it, you just ramp that up and you'll just get the most. Okay. I can't explain how daunting it was because I've played every Rock Band game to death and frequency and amplitude. And playing this, I was like, I don't quite understand what I'm doing. Am I going after points? Am I trying to get everything going? There's a great system. Once you figure out how that you have to get everything going in order to get your multiplier thing up. If you don't get all tracks going at once to a certain multiplier, like a ×4, you won't be able to go higher in the multiplier. But it's so hard to explain and so complicated sounding, although it's not. You just have to. I think that's why they kind of backed out of explaining stuff to you, because the only way to explain it really is to just do it yourself.
Just do it. Is it good though?
Fantastic.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely I mean, it's annoying because it's one of those games that just demands too much of you, and I don't have the time. But it is terrific. It's so rewarding. But one thing I will say is that it gives me the most fierce headaches because you're looking so. You're not just.
Oh, I'm in trouble then.
Well, it might not apply to you. I've just noticed that every single time I've played it, every time I've switched it off, I've had a throbbing fucking headache because you're looking so intensely at parts of the screen.
Yeah.
And it's you know, on one occasion I turned it off with a headache and put on a cave shooter and the headache dissipated. So I don't. Yeah, it's weird. It's exclusive to me, I'm sure, but no, it's tremendous. At first, I wasn't sure, and it is aggressive about buying more DLC. Some of the achievements are like you can only get them if you buy more songs, but it's terrific, absolutely fantastic. And if you've got DLC from the previous Rock Band games, it's worth every damn penny. Even if you don't, it is actually.
Yeah, I'll be getting that.
Yeah, you should.
Does the songs you already have feed into the game?
Yes. Every song you've got on your hard drive.
Oh, I've got shitloads.
Yeah, me too. That's why it was so
sweet.
So cool.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I was going to get it anyway, but yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Number 1 is Darksiders 2.
Oh, wow.
It's been a little because we've had another week off. Apologies again, got scheduling problems here, but it's actually been a little while since I played Darksiders 2, and my opinion has changed in the time that I've played it, and I'm hoping it will come back again, because when I first started it, I thought it was superb. I was absolutely loving it. I didn't really like Darksiders 1, as I've talked about before, but there was something about it I was really enjoying the loot. I thought the puzzles were smarter. I enjoying the world. I kind of didn't know what was going on though, which did bother me, because I'm a guy that likes to know why I'm there in a game like this, or who the people are, why I'm there, even if the writing shit, which often is. As long as I know what I'm doing, I don't know why, it just kind of gives me more of a sense of purpose. Otherwise I feel like I'm fighting through and I'm doing this thing, but it's like, well, who are these guys? And that's what I was feeling with Darksiders 2. But it didn't matter at first, because the systems in play and the and the puzzles were good and clever, and I was enjoying it. And then I don't know, it just started to lose me a little bit when I got sort of halfway through the second dungeon, and I just felt like I was going through the motions a little bit, and I still didn't know why I was there or what I was doing. And the graphics aren't very good, and occasionally they are. You'll see something in the distance, and it'll be a beautiful, amazing vista, or some really wicked bit of character design, or background design, but. So at times it looks like some water came out in the second dungeon, and it looked like something from The Last Generation. So, and then by the time I got to the third dungeon, it's like I found it's like one thing Zelda does so well is selling the place that you're going. It will fill you in on the lore. You'll find things out about it. You'll find about a bad guy that lives in there, or about some reason it's there, and you'll do things along the way that kind of lead into what you might be doing inside the thing, and get you into the feel of the temple that you're going to. So by the time you finally get into the temple, it feels like, man, this is going to be an event. I know about this place, I've felt this place, and what's it going to be like now I'm here? Whereas in Darksiders, they're like, okay, just turn around the corner and there's the ancient temple of all the amazing things, just go and check it out. And you just walk in and you're like, all right, well, this just looks like everywhere else, to be honest, but now there's puzzles and more monsters. I don't really care. Still, the functionality of moving through it and doing the puzzles and monsters is fine and nice in parts, but I just want a bit more. And maybe that will come, because I'm still not that far into it through time constraints. But I'm going to persevere, and I want it to get good again. But I felt like the first game had a much better sense of place and story.
I don't agree with that. I was really strong. I mean, I know it's not technically the best looking game in the world, but I like the variation in the. I thought it was quite a varied looking game. I never got to a point and thought, oh, here we are again. We're in the same old space. I don't
feel like I'm in the same old space. I just feel like wherever I am, I don't feel like it's been built up or anything. I don't feel like it's. I said it looks the same. I didn't mean that. I meant it just looked like the same as the bit outside looks the same as the bit inside. It's difficult because you're comparing it to probably objectively the best game series ever, if objectively can be such a thing. But Zelda is something else, and as you said on the previous podcast, those games take years and years to make, and that's not something that Vigil had. Is that amount of time? So
no, but with that in mind, and knowing that. I thought they smashed it, to be honest. But I mean, again, you haven't seen it go. Have you got? I mean, where are you?
No, I haven't. I know I haven't seen wherever it goes.
Have you got? You've got to the part with all the portals and stuff.
No, not yet.
Fuck! Oh shit! Okay, right, that's fine then, because that's when it really comes alive.
Right.
When it stops being just that and starts to just throw a bit of some curveballs. It's that's when it starts to get really, really impressive.
Okay. Well,
are you going to stick with it?
Oh yeah, I'm still enjoying it, but I think at first I was like, man, I'm absolutely loving this, and then I got to the third temple dungeon place, and I was just like, you jump on these stone, you get a big key thing, right, and then there's these big stone things in this temple, and you shove the thing in the thing which it told you're going to need to do, and then this thing came alive, and instantly Death just jumped on the thing's head and started controlling it, and I was like, well, how the hell did you know how to do that? Why would you do that? Why would you think that initially you've opened up this huge stone statue? Why would you think to jump on his head straight away? In Zelda, some cool little rock guy would have told you about that in a funny roundabout way a few times, and so by the time you got to it, you'd be like, oh, this is the thing that I need to shove in and jump on the head. Whereas there's nothing like that in Darksiders. It's more like, this is what the game's doing right now, and you just go along with it, and then you can see the puzzles. It's like comparing. It's such a harsh comparison. I feel bad doing it because it's it just feels like all the really hard stuff they've done really well, like building dungeons and puzzles and complicated things that work back on themselves. So difficult, I'm sure, to make. For me, as someone who's been writing for years, small little bits of foreshadowing on the way up there in terms of the writing would do so much for me in terms of creating and generating the atmosphere. And it feels like that would be way easier to do than make a game. But yeah, I'll persevere with it. And as I've said a few times, comparing it to Zelda, and I'm thinking specifically Ocarina of Time, is harsh, but they put themselves in that battle by making a Zelda game.
Yeah, I've realised that I never really... The things that you mentioned seem valid, but they'd never bothered me because I kind of played it a little bit from a distance. I always thought of it as a game, and throughout the whole time I was playing it, I was thinking of the financial troubles that THQ have been having. And I started thinking that it's amazing how this has clearly affected that, but I never, the things that you say, you weren't explained this by a character or this or that, and that normally would bother me. In this instance, for some reason, it didn't. And I thought it was an absolute blast. I really want to hear, because that is just what the bit that you're in is just what fans would have been expecting if they had no expectations and no demands. After you get through that portal and you have all those different portals, it turns into it flies as far as I'm concerned. There's just more. I'm
going to go back to it. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, good. Yeah, make sure you do.
Yeah. But just time constraints is the reason why I've not. But I want it to be good, but I kind of wanted to get sucked along with an adventure and feel like I'm in a different place, which is something that I love about video games. And for me, I was being pushed away too much. When someone does something in a game where it doesn't make sense, it does really... Same as in a fucking film. It's the classic thing, isn't it? The suspension of disbelief is broken, and that kept happening in Darksiders too, which is frustrating because you want to get involved, or I do anyway. But I can see why sometimes you do play a game and you just sort of see it more as a functional thing, especially if you're reviewing it. I wasn't reviewing Darksiders, which is maybe why I'm expecting a bit more of it. Maybe I'm just being a bit selfish, who knows? But I'm certainly in no position to state the game or come up with any sort of final judgment, because I'm barely any way through it.
Indeed.
That's just how I'm feeling at this moment.
True that. Okay, all right. Well, that's us. That's us done. Thank you very much for listening. I'm going to do what we always do and say, check out the site, thefiniteplaylist.com, Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, you know the deal.
Stitcher.
Stitcher Radio, whatever that may be. If you're listening on Stitcher, hello.
Hello.
Send us an email and tell us what the fuck it is. Thanks very much for listening. Hopefully we'll be back next week if some mug can sort his schedule out. Otherwise, we'll see you in like a fortnight or something if someone can be bothered.
No, we're back next week.
Yeah? All right, is that
Don't worry about it.
Done.
Yeah.
It's fucking done. See you later.
Peace out.
They got the chica.
The spurs are burning!
We're out up on ya.